This life is just a dream. It'll be over in the blink of an eye. Remember who you are. Whose life is this? Whose voice is this? What am I? What do you think life is? This is a very important question. Because this is it. You are having this experience. What do you think it is? I mean, no one told us what it is, so we have to figure that out ourselves. Listen, even if you think you might be wrong, because no one can confirm to you that what you think life is true, tell me in the comment what you really think it is. There are no wrong answers. There could never be wrong answers. Because, well, no one told you what life is, so you are free to think whatever you think. Right? No one has the right to blame you for being wrong. You can think that we live in a simulation. You could think that we live in a video game. You could think that we live in a dream. You could think that we live in a hologram. You are really free to think anything. You could think that we live in a physical universe that started to exist by accident. You're free to think anything. No one has the right to say you're wrong, you're stupid for thinking what you think. You are really free to think anything. You are so free that you could walk in the street saying that other people don't exist. You're free. You understand? Like, you are really free to believe anything. You can believe that, and that wouldn't make you evil, because life is something, and because we were never told what life is, anything is possible. You could be living in a universe where you are the only conscious being in it. For real. That is not impossible. So you are free to believe anything. You are free to believe that everything is conscious. You can believe that this is conscious. You can believe that this is conscious. You are really free to believe anything. You can believe that you're God. You created all of this and forgot that you're the one who created it. No one should demonize you for believing that. You are really free to believe anything because no one confirmed to you what this is. So, free your mind and decide what makes the most sense to you as a person. Now, I don't make videos to convince people that what I'm saying is true. I make videos to convince people that what I'm saying makes sense, or what I think makes sense. Because the way that I think make people judge me, right? People who think like me are judged a lot in our society. So I want people who think like me to be able to defend themselves and say, no. You think I'm crazy, but listen to what this guy is saying, or listen to what I think. I think this is the most correct way to think. Like, as a human that found themselves in a world that they were never told what it actually was, this is the most correct way to think. So tell me in the comment what you think this is. I remember yesterday I was having a conversation with someone from the UK, You're telling me that they believe that life is a game and we all agree to play. We just forgot that we agreed to play this game. And they say that, that will also explain why we suffer. Because I've never played a game where there were no challenges. You're just playing that game. Like if you play a game where there's no challenges, it's not going to be fun, right? There has to be some challenges. So that's the reason why there's suffering in the world. These are challenges. And I was like, there's still a problem. That makes sense, but there's still a problem. The problem is that if it's a game and we don't know that it's a game, that means that the suffering that we experience is real. Let me give you a simple example. If you created a simulation where you put criminals to punish them, right, for their crimes, and you wipe off their memories so they don't remember that they were put in a simulation, it means that they will experience suffering in that simulation as if it's real. So there will be no difference between them being in a simulation and them being in what we call the real world, you see? So if we are in a video game and there is suffering in this video game and we don't know that we're in a video game, it means that we're suffering for real. So that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make the game interesting because we do not think that it's a game. It's not like we were told that it's a game, right? I mean, if you think it's a game, cool. Maybe you would suffer less. Maybe you learn how to play it and keep on winning. But not everyone is going to think this is a game. So they will actually be suffering. Try to think of it this way. Like, let's say you had a baby. And that baby was afraid of some toys. Let's just say you had a toy that looked like a real snake. Whenever they saw you holding that toy, they would run away. And you chase them with that toy. And you see that they're really, really scared and you chase them. Like, would that make you a good parent just because that's just a toy, it's not a real snake? No, it wouldn't make you a good parent because that baby thinks that it's a real snake. So it means they're experiencing fear the way that an adult will experience fear if they saw a real snake. You see? To them, there's no difference between a toy and a real snake. What they're seeing is a snake. So even if we were living in a simulation or video game, that wouldn't mean that suffering is justified. Suffering will be justified if we knew that we're in a video game. He went on to say, okay, look, what if God got born then? Because imagine being conscious forever. You know that you're God. You know that there's no other God. There's no one to talk to. You're just there forever. You're just conscious forever. I mean, wouldn't you want to create a game for yourself where you'd believe that you are a finite being, where you'd feel fear sometimes, where you'd feel hopeless sometimes, where you'd fall in love sometimes, where you desire things sometimes? Because if you are God and you are everything, there will be nothing to desire, right? But if you become a finite being, then you would have desires. So wouldn't that explain why this universe is the way that it is? But still, God could have created a universe where he's a finite being, but he's actually having fun. There's no reason for life to be this difficult. Like, it gets to a point where people are starting to think, okay, this might be hell, because it's just too difficult. It goes to a point where it just doesn't make sense. Like, people are disappointed. When we were little, we had a lot of fun. Like, when I was growing up, life was fun, bro. Like, I did enjoy life when I was young. Yes, there's been so many things that I wanted that I couldn't get. A lot of things that I wanted that my parents couldn't afford. Uh, I've missed a lot of trips. Um, I I did get bullied a lot, but still, life wasn't too difficult that it stopped making sense. But when you become an adult and you see that life is just too damn difficult, like even things that are supposed to be easy are so damn difficult that to it to even get what you want, it doesn't even require effort anymore. It's like it all boils down to luck. It's like trying to win a lottery. Like, it's no longer about hard work. It's no longer about skill. It's no longer about you being qualified, you being good enough or anything like that. It's just, it doesn't make sense. It's like if someone created a game that didn't make sense, that was based on like luck, and you played that game with your friend and it was based on luck. Like, it's not even based on your skill. It's not even based on your intelligence. How would you feel? Would you even enjoy that game, even if you knew it was a game? Of course you wouldn't enjoy it. This game that we're playing really doesn't make sense. It's truly upside down. People know that you can work very hard, do everything right, in a way that will make every human being proud and still lose. Right? Like, it doesn't matter how hard you work sometimes. It doesn't matter how good you are at something sometimes. It doesn't matter how bad you want something. Some people get some things very easily. Even people who don't even care about these things that they get. They just get these things freely. Like, some people are born into wealth. That person doesn't even care about wealth. They don't know how to handle money. They're just buying things that they shouldn't even be buying, showing off, and that's it. Like, just wasting money. They're not contributing in a way that is positive to society, but they have a lot of money. Like, isn't that a joke? What kind of game is that? While there are people who can actually make a change in the world, but they have nothing, and they're trying to make money, but they can't because of where they were born, and the people that they live with and what they have access to. Isn't that the joke? Like, when you really think about it. Life is difficult for no reason. When we say life is difficult, we're not talking about you growing up in poverty and working hard, and then you make it. We're talking about you growing up in poverty and working very hard, doing everything right and still not making it. You did everything right, but you still didn't make it. That's what we mean when we say life is difficult. It's being difficult for no damn reason. That it doesn't make sense. Because I have seen a lot of people who grew up in poverty and who worked very, very hard, who did everything right and who didn't make it. And I've seen people who were born in good families who didn't work very hard and who did everything wrong and who still made it. This is the kind of world that we live in. So if this was a game, would you say that it's a good game? You see, what makes playing games fun is that it's just games, right? Like, it's just a game. So you don't take it too damn seriously. Like, if you were playing a video game and you took it so damn seriously that you'd fight with someone over a video game, then you have some work to do. There's this rapper who died in 2017. His name is Lil Snoop. Like, he had a lot of potential. He was signed to Dream Chasers. Like, they're McMill's record label. He was very, very talented, like very, very talented. He could freestyle like crazy, and people loved him. He had that XXXTentacion thing, you know. He had that kind of aura. Like people just loved him. You know, there's some people that people just love. You know, they just loved him. He was something else. He got unalived by a 40-year-old over a fucking video game, bro. Like they were playing a video game, and then I don't know what really happened, but the guy got angry and unalived them. That was really strange. That was really strange. I don't think that there's really a good explanation for this. So it doesn't matter what you believe life is. You could believe that we are in a video game. That still doesn't justify this. You could believe that we are in a simulation. That still doesn't justify this. You could believe that we are in a dream. That still doesn't justify this. Because when you are in a dream, you believe that it is real, meaning that it is real. Because the difference between what's real and what is not real is what you believe. If you think about it deeply, it all boils down to what you believe. If you believe that this is not real, then it's not. If you believe that it's real, then it is. That's the difference. So if you're in a dream and you believe that it is real, then it is real. Remember the example that I gave you earlier? That if you had a kid that didn't know the difference between a toy and a real thing, and you showed them a snake and they were afraid of snakes. I mean, you showed them a toy of a snake and they were afraid of snakes and they started running away. To them, that's real. They feel the same fear that they would feel if they saw a real snake. So there's no difference. So that's why we hate having nightmares, bro. No one wants to have a nightmare. You know, you don't wake up from a nightmare and be like, yeah, it was just a dream. It's, it's good that I had that nightmare. No. You wake up scared and be like, what the fuck? You'd even be afraid to go back to sleep. Like if you had a real nightmare, like if you went to sleep right now and had a real nightmare, you'd be afraid to go to sleep again. You'd be like, no. Because you're scared. So there is no way to justify what is going on. If we were in a simulation, a game, it would be better if we knew that we are in a simulation, we are in a game. Not to speculate that we might be in a game, but to know for sure that we are in a game. So that when we see bad things happening, let's say we see countries being invaded and we see innocent people being unalived, we'll be like, okay, that's just non-player characters. If they are non-player characters. Or it's the game that it's a game that they've agreed to play. They knew that was going to happen to them at some point. They're going to wake up and laugh. But if we don't know that it's a game, and it's a game, then we are going to suffer playing this game. So it will defeat the purpose. You'll be like, okay, what was the point of the game? Wasn't the point of the game to have fun? Have you ever played a game just to be miserable? Bro, I remember when I was young, me and my uncle used to play this game where we would scare each other. Like, I don't know, like you're just chilling and your uncle just appear out of nowhere and scare you. Maybe wearing something that makes him look scary and then scare you and you'd scream. I hated that game. I remember telling him that dude, I hate the game because I feel this real fear that I do not want to feel. So yeah, even after realizing that, okay, now it's just my uncle, but I don't really feel that good because I was scared. So you could say that, yeah, it's just a game, but you're gonna kind of like feel like the experience was worth it after you've exited the game. You're gonna look at everything and laugh. But I don't think that I would look at everything and laugh. I would look at everything and be like, what the fuck was that? Like, why did I have to go through that? The same way that after waking up from a bad dream, I'll be like, why did I have to have that kind of dream, even though I know that it wasn't real? I don't wake up from a dream and be like, okay, that was real. I could have a dream where I lose the people that I love and I suffer a lot because of that, and then wake up. Of course, after waking up, I'm going to feel better that, okay, yes, these people that I love are still there. But I'm not going to be happy that I had that dream. You see? I'm like, why did I have that dream? That's bad. So there's no way that I'm going to wake up and appreciate the fact that I've had this experience. Because this is bad. This is a bad experience. This will be like me torturing myself or me being tortured. So you can't say, hey, it's just a video game, you gotta look at it that way. It's just a game, it's just it's a stage, like, nah, man. Life is difficult for no reason. When we wake up, we have problems that we don't know how to solve. And even if we do solve these problems, there's more problems. So, okay, you solve the problem that you have, and then more problems arise. You're like, what the hell? Another problem now? And then more problem arise, and you're like, come on. Like, you don't really get to solve the problems that you have. It's like you have infinite problems. You're not supposed to not have problems. Like, okay, let me solve this problem, then another problem arises. Let me solve this problem, another problem arises. You're like, nah, man. Infinite problems. Everyone has a problem that is hurting them. That's something that I've realized. When you go on Facebook and check what people are posting, you realize that everyone has a problem that's hurting them, and they don't know how to solve that problem. They've been having that problem for a very long time. Maybe they have a problem when it comes to relationships. Like, they have a problem, their relationship does not work, and they're like, it got to a point where they're just bitter because they want a relationship that's gonna work, but their relationships just don't work. And it's like the universe, because look, we're told that we have like 8 billion humans, but we're struggling with relationships. How is that possible? There are people who want relationships and who feel like, who want like a good relationship, and who feel like if they had a good relationship, they'll be fulfilled. But things never work out for them. Stars never align for them. In a world where we're told there's 8 billion humans, in a world where you can connect with anyone in the world, what is really going on? It's like we're just being played. Because things never work out. Find that you have you've been having a problem, like when it comes to relationships, since you were 15. Now you're in your 40s. You look back and be like, dang, what the fuck was that? Like, you've dated a lot, but none of your relationships really made sense. And you want a relationship where everything was fine, because, well, there's 8 billion humans. How is it that you don't find the right person? Doesn't make sense. It's like relationship is the best way, this matrix get loose from us. because it knows that we want connection. No human wants to be alone. I talk a lot about being alone, and I even advise people to learn to be alone, but not because we are wired to enjoy being alone, but because relationships suck these days. It gets to a point where being alone is better, because when you're in a relationship, you suffer more than when you are alone. So you're like, okay, I just gotta be alone because it doesn't work. It's not like relationships. My relationships don't work because I'm a toxic person, or because there is something that I don't understand, or because there's something missing. There are people who suck way more than me. Their relationships work. Like the people who really suck, like they suck so bad that you're like, what the fuck? Like everyone can see that they suck, but their relationships work. But you don't suck, right? You're almost perfect, but your relationships don't work. Like you are the one who always gets screwed over, and you're surprised, like how? Like I did everything right. Other people do everything wrong, but things still seem to work out for you. Like it doesn't make sense. So if this is a game, it's upside down. It's not the kind of game that you win by playing it very well. It's not like you learn how to play the game and then you win. It's like the more you learn how to play the game, the more you lose. It's so damn upside down that those who just play the game wrong are the ones who win. They're the ones who are on top. It doesn't make sense. So it's truly unjustified to think we're in a good realm. It's truly unjustified to think we're playing a good game. It's truly unjustified to think that we've been put here for a good reason, for our own good. It doesn't, like, when you think deeply about it, it doesn't make sense to think that. Like, I try to think that, but it doesn't make sense. Anyone who tells me that, oh, it makes sense to think that, and I try to have a deeper conversation with them, they realize that I make more sense than them. You see, people who think that we're in a good realm are people who are just naive. Once you show them everything, you show them that their logic is flawed, they're like, damn, but you make a lot of sense. You make a lot of sense. So yes, you can say that maybe base reality is boring. You can say that. You can definitely say that. Base reality is boring. That's why we chose to come here. But that doesn't mean that this should be boring too. You could say, oh, you wanted to forget that you're God. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that this should be boring. And I want you to realize this. The more you suffer, the more you start to see things as they really are. So if you're God, the more you suffer, the more you realize that you're God. You might think that when you suffer, the opposite will happen. You think those people who believe they became enlightened, these people who call themselves gods, they were having so much fun that they were like, I'm God. This reminds me of this episode of South Park where Cartman wanted Family Guy to be cancelled. He hated Family Guy because they compared Family Guy to South Park. So that's why he wanted it to be cancelled. So he went to the studios and because he wanted them to not air this other episode. And he met that kid from The Simpsons. The part that made me laugh was like the kid also wanted Family Guy to be cancelled. So he had a conversation with Cartman. Cartman was like, I'm the one who should go in, because I'll know how to deal with these people. And the kid was like, no, I'm gonna go in. And Cartman was like, listen, kid, this is manipulation at its highest level. You should let me handle it. That made me laugh because if you've watched South Park, you know how Eric Cartman is. But yeah, when he went in, he he looked like he was injured, right? Like he didn't walk, well. And then he came up with some BS story that made the producers of the show feel sorry for him, and they canceled the show. And he said, "I did it. I am God." I thought that was funny. But no, that's not how it works in real life. It's not like when you keep on winning, you think that you're God. In fact, the people who keep on winning, they believe that there's a God that's higher than them that's making them win. That is why the celebrities who win awards thank God. They don't be like, "I am God because I won an award. I am God because I'm rich." They think that it's something that is higher than them that has been helping them. But if you suffer a lot, you think a lot about what reality might be. And you're like, it's very much possible that I might be God. Because you really, really think. It's through thinking that you can get to the truth. So, if God wanted to forget that he's God, why would he make himself suffer so much that he remembers that he's God? And he remembers that he's eternal. Remember, I had this conversation with my mom, I think earlier this year. She was comparing me to some people that still go to church. Like, we used to be close. And I was telling her that, "Mom, do you know that me and these people that you're comparing me with, we didn't have the same experiences? Life didn't treat me the way that it treated them. You can blame me and say, 'Oh, you don't believe in God,' but look at this. Like, life didn't treat me the way that it treated them. Maybe things just worked out for them. You know the challenges that I faced. She knows, because I talked to her about everything. Do you really think that the challenges that I faced are normal? Look at the challenges that they faced. Some people, their life is so damn easy. They don't have to fly to have what they want. They don't have to, they don't experience too much nonsense. But some people experience too much nonsense that they are forced to think. They're forced to ask themselves what the heck is going on. Because life is actually forcing them to ask themselves what is actually going on. You are lying to yourself if you think that we're experiencing this reality the same way. We're not. Some people are truly experiencing hell. Things that are not supposed to happen in their lives. You pass grade 12 and they say, the whole school cheated. So you're not going to get your results, and then you wait for more than 5 years to get your results. I mean, things like this can happen to people, and it slows them down. You work very hard to get a qualification and you get it. And they say, "No, actually, we've employed enough people. Now we're going to have to wait for a few years to employ more people for this." You get a job and you perform very well, and people say, "Well, you don't live in this place. You don't live in our village, so you can't. Your contract shouldn't be renewed." People who live in this village are the people. I'm just saying, some people face weird problems that don't make any sense. Problems that when you look at them, you're like, "Nah, man." It's almost as if there is something that is actually making them face this problem. It's like there's this evil being that is actually creating this problem for this person. Life is not the same for everyone. Some people have faced difficult challenges that didn't even make sense, challenges that made them think. So yeah, if my life had been easy, I wouldn't have had time to ask myself what the heck is going on. I mean, I've really tried to figure out what the truth is when I was suffering. I've tried to figure out what religion might be true while I was suffering. try to ask myself if the religion that I was told that I must believe in is true while I was suffering. If I didn't suffer, I still would be a Christian, or I wouldn't even care. Let me put it that way. I would know that there's something that's wrong, but I wouldn't have cared. I wouldn't have cared enough to to ask the right questions. But now, even if things go too well for me, I will continue to ask questions, because now I'm able to think at that level. So I wouldn't have been able to think at this level because things would have worked out too well for me. You see? Life is difficult in a way that doesn't make sense anymore. Life is so difficult that some people are not even afraid to exit on their own. Like we're hardwired for survival, but some people are not afraid to go out on their own. Like a person will stand, can't even say it, it's on YouTube, but they will stand, you know what I'm about to say. You'd swear people ain't afraid of trains, bro. Because this has been so damn difficult that they're just not afraid of pain anymore. They're like, you know what? The pain that I'm going to feel now is nothing compared to the pain that I felt. Like some people have been through so much that they're not afraid of that anymore. This reminds me of the example that I gave you about someone, like a person who's on fire. Like if a person is in a building that is burning and they're on fire, it wouldn't matter if they're on the last floor, they'll jump. Like they're not afraid of the pain that they'll feel when they hit the floor. Some people have suffered so much that they're not afraid of the pain that they will feel, if they go out on their own. Like they're no longer afraid because of how hard this is. But if this has been easy, though, you'll be afraid of the smallest things. You know that. That's why we feel like when we were growing up, we used to feel like the kids who grew up in good families were very soft. Like they'll be afraid of things that we weren't afraid of at all, and we'll be surprised. Like, how are you afraid of that? Like, you're too soft. And those who've been through hell weren't afraid of nothing, because they've already experienced pain. They've already experienced suffering, so they're just not afraid. It's weird that my neighbor was playing music today while I was recording. Like she just came home. So normally when she comes home from work, she's not playing music, but today she was. My problem with life is that it is too difficult to make sense. Like it doesn't make sense anymore. It's like if you were a kid, and kids will make mistakes, right? Like It's impossible to be a kid and not make a mistake. Imagine if when you made a mistake, your parents beat you so bad that you knew that, no, this is not a punishment anymore. Like, this is something else. Like, I'm being abused here. They were like, okay, you're not gonna eat for a week. You're like, what? And someone says, oh, yeah, children must be punished so that they will listen. Like, that doesn't work. You're not being punished. What is happening is worse than punishment. You're not learning anything. So that's what's happening in this realm. Like, yeah, maybe life should be difficult, but not this difficult. Like, it gets to a point where it's just a bit too difficult to make sense. Like, it's no longer fun anymore. It's just too damn difficult. It just seems rigged. Like, you never really win. That's the reason why we're creating religions that don't make sense. There's so many religions in the world, bruh. And the followers of this religion believe that they have found the right religion. They really believe that they have found the right religion. Like, really, really believe that they found the right religion. It's crazy. It doesn't matter that there's many religions in the world. It doesn't matter that there are people who are more intelligent than them who believe in religions that they don't believe. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that they only believe in a religion that they believe in because they were born in a place where that religion is practiced. Like, it doesn't matter to them. But yeah, we had to create these religions because life is too damn difficult. When we were kids, we didn't care about religion. We were just forced to be religious. You remember when we were kids, we were forced to be religious. The kids don't care about God. They don't care about the Bible. They don't care. They don't care about Jesus. It's not like as a human, you are programmed to believe in these religions that we've been given. Yes, maybe you're programmed to believe in a higher power, but you're not programmed to believe in these religions that we've been given. You don't care until you get indoctrinated. Or until you start suffering for real. And you're like, okay, what's going on? And then you start to, look for help. Like, you see, you live in a world where people don't really help you, right? People don't really help one another. So you look for help elsewhere. You're like, okay, human beings don't want to help. Human beings don't really care. Yeah. I mean, human beings are the ones who are causing problems here. So I must look for help elsewhere. Maybe there's something that is watching me that I don't see, something that has power that I do not see. Maybe I should ask for help from this thing. Maybe it will help me. Because life is too damn difficult. I mean, that's the biggest sign that life is too difficult. People praying to imaginary beings that they've never seen, that they've never experienced, that has never done anything for them. When you go to sleep, you pray to these imaginary beings. You wake up, you pray to these imaginary beings. During the day, you pray to these imaginary beings. You've never seen them. They've never communicated with you. They've never responded to you. They've never done anything that shows you that they exist, but you keep on praying to them. Isn't it because life is too damn difficult that people don't even know what to do? Because that's just being desperate. It's like you don't know what else to do. You're like, hey man, I've tried everything that I know works and it hasn't worked. So I just gotta try, I gotta believe in miracles now. When you're truly desperate, you start to believe in miracles. See, when you're not desperate, you're not gonna believe in miracles. Like, you're not gonna pray for something that you already have. I'm not gonna pray for this. I'm not going to pray for water to come out of this. But if I was thirsty, I was so thirsty that I was going to die, I'll probably pray for water to come out of this. Because I'm too damn desperate. I'm like, hey, what else to do? Like, I don't know where to get water. So now I gotta rely on miracles because I don't know where to get water. You see? So people believing in different religions, even though there's no proof, is a sign that life is too difficult for people. Just because they don't walk around screaming doesn't mean that life isn't too difficult. You must also understand that people are used to their own pain. They have nothing to compare this world with. Like this is the only reality that they know. So they're like, yeah, maybe reality is just difficult. But if they had something else to compare this reality with that is actually good, they'll know that something is totally wrong. It's like if you grew up in a family where you were mistreated in so many different ways, but you have nothing to compare the way that you're being treated with. You don't know that other kids are being treated well, so you don't know. You think that the way that you're being treated is the way that you should be treated. Like if your parents had you and they decided to go and live with you in the wild, away from society where they had rules that made your life hard, you think that is good because you can't compare the way that you're being treated with the way that other people are being treated. Like, you just look at your life and be like, this is it. So that's why a lot of people are unable to see that something is wrong, or they can feel that they're not happy, but they just might not even realize that something is wrong. That's why they're not happy, because they have nothing to compare their experience with. They have no point of reference there. And they're used to their suffering because they don't have hope. They don't think, hey, things can get better, because they see that there are other rooms where things are better. So they're like, this is it. This is all that I know. I just gotta make the best of this. Yes, it's difficult, but it's all that I know. Maybe it's what I deserve. Damn, it's cold. So, lying to ourselves about reality doesn't really help, to be honest. It's just that people just do not really have like that much of a choice. Because life is too difficult for them. It's only if your life is difficult in a weird way that you start to ask the right questions, and you start to find answers that actually make sense. But if it's just difficult in a way that is difficult for every person, that seems normal, right? It's difficult in a way that seems normal, so you're like, hey, this is how life is. This is how it should be. But you can see that it's difficult, so you make things up in order to justify what's going on in the world. But there's no reason for life to be this difficult. It's not true that we will not be able to have an experience if life wasn't this difficult. Some people believe that if we didn't experience suffering, we wouldn't be able to experience pleasure. Like, that's like, you need to suffer so that you'll be able to experience pleasure. Or you need to suffer in order to experience not suffering. Like, nah. You know what that will be like? It will be like if you put someone in jail and you wanted to control them. When they were not behaving in the way that you wanted them to behave, you made them suffer. Because you knew that when they're suffering, they don't feel good. Of course, they don't want to suffer. And then when they were doing what you wanted them to do, you stop torturing them so that they'll do what you wanted to do. It's kind of like that. Like, there's no reason for us to know suffering. There's a difference between life being difficult and suffering. So when life is too difficult, then that's suffering. But when life is difficult, like in a normal way, like if to lift this, like if this was full of water, to lift it up, it will be a bit difficult, but that's not suffering. But imagine if sometimes when I try to lift this up, it will be too damn heavy and I can't drink water. I'll be like that would be suffering, right? I'd have to wait for like an hour for it to not be heavy, and then I'll be able to drink water, and then put it back, and then try to drink water again, and I'm able to, and then put it back, and then try to drink water, and I'm unable to because it's too heavy, and I can't even explain why it's too heavy now. It just happens that it's too heavy. Because that's life. It's like that. It's like you try to do some things, and it's hard for you to do these things, and then you try to do the same things the next day, and then it's easy. That's too difficult. That is what's causing suffering in the world. And life is a bit unpredictable. Did I say a bit unpredictable? Like, it's really unpredictable. I mean, there are things that you know are gonna happen, so you're not even predicting that these things are gonna happen. You just know that this is what to expect. If these things don't happen, you'll be like, what the hell? Like, you'll be surprised. Like, who woke up tomorrow and it was still, like you say, you woke up tomorrow at 8 a.m. and it was still dark. You'd be surprised. The truth is, the level of difficulty isn't justified, especially for a life that we do not understand, right? If we chose this and we said, yeah, it must be this difficult, yeah. But remember what I told you about choosing something. If I choose something, if I don't remember that I chose it, I didn't choose it. Like, it doesn't make sense that if I choose something and then my memories get wiped and I don't remember choosing it, I'm the one who chose it. I've told you that memories are important. Memories are a big part of what we are. Without our memories, we are not ourselves anymore, right? If you removed my memories from 2010, I'll be a totally different person, and you'll be surprised. I'll be waking up in the morning and going to church. Like, what I believe now about reality wouldn't be what I'll believe after, you know what I mean? Like, I'll be a different person. So memories are a big part of what we are. So if my memories get wiped, then I'm no longer the same person that I am. So that would mean that if I make a decision knowing what I know, and then my memories get wiped, then the person that I will be wouldn't be the one that made that choice, because they don't know what I know. And it's not like they're going to experience life the way that I would have experienced it. You know, maybe they're going to behave differently, so they're going to experience life a bit differently, and they're going to end up not even understanding what I understood when I made that choice, you see? So it doesn't make sense to believe that we chose this. It really makes no sense to believe that we chose it. Like, it can never make sense to believe that we chose this. Thank you all, guys.